Did you know the average person sees about 3,000 ads and messages every single day between the devices that they're on, their phone, computer, etc., whatever it may be, and yet most are ignored? Why is that? We all know that it's desperately hard to get someone's attention in today's world, but at the same time, the reason that most people aren't capturing the attention of their audience itself all comes down to them being unclear with their message and their brand meaning itself. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking more about branding, how to make your brand stand out from the crowd, and how to actually cut through the noise within your market and be heard within your space. What's going on, guys? Blake Fontana here at Unleashed CEOs, helping you break through the noise, help more people make more money, and live unleashed itself. So as we dive into today's video, for those of you that follow me inside my free Facebook community, last week I went live in the group sharing a few predictions that I see for 2022 and a few areas that those of you working to grow your online business should consider doubling down on here in the new year itself. Now, one piece that I talked on in particular was around branding. And I talked on a few components with this, including Facebook group and other communities itself that you're building. But the core message that I was mentioning here was branding itself. And although this isn't really a new prediction, brands aren't new. To me, there's no better time than now to get really clear on your brand message and your brand meaning going into 2022 to separate yourself from the competition and start to actually stand out from the crowd and create an audience and tribe of fans that rant and rave about you itself. And we can do that through our brand and through our brand message and understanding what the meaning is behind that and why we're even here itself. So in diving into today's video here, let's start off with a question. What to you makes a brand unique, or what makes your brand unique amongst other brands out there? If you don't have a brand yet, share in general in the comments what you feel makes a brand unique. Oftentimes, we usually fall back to talking about what our brand is and how we do what we do itself. For example, there's a book that I read called Building a Story Brand. And in that book, it shared an example from a guy by the name of Kyle that was a photographer. Kyle had a course that taught parents how to essentially take better photos. His message was the power of photography in the hands of parents. He launched this course around this message and did pretty well to start, did about 20K in sales. Now, after getting more clear on what his brand really meant and the true meaning behind that itself and how his message tied into that, he ended up transferring that message to we help parents take better pics. A much more simplified message that's much less words and really straight to the point. Oftentimes, as brands work to get more clear on their message as a whole, they usually kind of fall back to either traits that they feel they possess or feel strongly about. They either fall back to the story about how they came about, or really just the outcome that they can help achieve itself. But I think at the end of the day, what we want to think about is why our brand exists and what difference does it make for our people itself? What's the difference that we want to leave on the world that we are serving? Now, the powerful message behind this quick story here about Kyle transferring his marketing message and his brand meaning to we help parents take better pics. Aside from that being more simple and more short and to the point, simplicity helps, and you're usually able to say more with less words when you get clear on this. But the point is, what he did with this short, simple message was invite people into a story. He invited his audience into the story itself. And not just his story, he invited it into the story of what he really helps people do, the meaning that he creates through his brand itself, and then in turn correlating that into inviting his audience members to being a piece of that story and to being a part of that story itself. So when we look at the big picture of branding itself, it's not really about what it is or how it does it itself. It's more about why it does what it does. Now, the really cool outcome from this in this example for Kyle, aside from transferring his marketing message and making it more clear, simplified, and streamlined, and making it more importantly about his audience itself and inviting them into a story as a whole, the result of that was going from 20K on his initial launch to doing a launch number 2 with this new message and doing over 100K in sales. And this all stemmed from the fact that he was more clear on where his brand really fit into his audience itself, what it meant to be a piece of his brand, to be a part of his brand. And he made that clear to his audience members as a whole, which in turn brought much more people into that brand, wanting to associate with it, wanting to purchase that product itself, all because of that brand meaning and that brand message. You see, when you look at what makes a brand unique itself, it's much less about what it does or how it does it and talking about what you do or how you're so special or talking about just your story all the time itself, and more about why it does what it does, what's in it for your people, and why should your people want to associate your brand? What's the impact that you want to create and leave on the world itself with the people that you work with and the clients that you touch? And the more that we can get really clear on this, and the more that we can convey that message in the most simple and effective way possible, the more that our audience members can actually associate with us and want to be a part of that brand and really let it be known that they enjoy being a part of that brand. And it becomes so much less just about the new products that they roll out and the products in general, and much more about being associated with someone that they feel they share the beliefs with itself and they feel they really associate with on a higher level. So when it comes to the brand that we've created here at Unleash CEOs, I could sit back here and talk all about the story and how this brand came to life. I could sit back here and talk all about our core beliefs and values that we have with authenticity, ethics, growth-oriented mindsets, hard work and work ethic, all of these things that myself and my team share as common beliefs that make us the team that we are. But it's much less about that, more about what our mission is itself. And that is to help you guys live unleashed lives. Live unleashed. That's what we're all about. And living unleashed means breaking past the chains, living a life that has no limits, and living the life of freedom that you want to live. Because I know that for me early on, when I was working within my family business, for example, although I had the freedom to take over that business and run that business, I wasn't living an unleashed life. I was living a life that was handed down to me that still kept me trapped in a physical location that I didn't enjoy being at, doing things that I really didn't find impact within itself. But as I started to transfer into the online space and build my coaching business and transform the lives of people within that business and help them grow their business, which in turn creates better lives for their family and their loved ones, to me, what it all came back to was not just freedom, not just more money, not just multiplying your impact, but living unleashed. Living a life without limits, just a life that you actually find true meaning, true impact, and true freedom within itself. To me, that's what it's all about in terms of living unleashed and living an unleashed life itself. And that's what we're all about here at Unleash CEOs. So as we close out today's video, thanks for those that watched here today. If you got value from this video, be sure to smash the thumbs up button below and hit the subscribe button if you have not already. And remember that it's much less about what we do and how we do it and much more about why we do it when it comes to our brand message itself. So for those of you working to build a personal brand or a brand in general in 2022, consider this going forward and use this video as some tips that you can implement going forward to make your brand message more purposeful, more powerful, and really allow it to actually be heard by your audience and by your clients going forward. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next one.